My name is Rodney Cook. I'm a farmer from Garrettson, South Dakota.
Less than 2% of the nation's population are farmers. Cook is proud to be one.
I'm a fifth-generation farmer.
Thanks to the programs from the USDA, their farming practices continue to improve.
Well, if we want healthy people, it all starts in the soil. We got to have healthy soil, which creates healthy crops, which creates healthy animals and healthy people.
USDA conservation programs help.
Reduce our tillage and to involve other crops in our rotation and find regenerative practices and implement cover crops and to do different things.
The drought and ongoing uncertainty of the Farm Bill are challenging. The USDA's funding freeze brings more concern.
This past year was a tough year on the farm, one of the hardest years that I've experienced.
Former Undersecretary of USDA Rural Development believes DOGE reactions at USDA are hurting rural America. He says, while I am extremely concerned for those recently terminated employees, I am most concerned for the rural people of America who the agency will no longer be able to serve. 500 fewer employees will not equate to more efficiency nor better service for rural America.
Just trying to get through the year.
These reductions in services keep Cook up at night.
I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, so we need to come together and to make something that's resilient for the future and that will help everybody.
A trip from those in Washington, D.C. to rural America could serve as a reminder of where their food comes from.
We got to find a way to survive and thrive and evolve and continue. We got no other choice.
In Sioux Falls, Beth Warden, Dakota News Now.